Welcome to Wild Breakaway with Ben Clymer. I'm Audra Martin. Today's game in St. Paul was a big one for the Wild, taking on the very team chasing them in the wild card standings in the Western Conference, the Anaheim Ducks. Early on, very early on, it seemed like it could be a long afternoon for the Minnesota Wild. They would battle back, but unfortunately they would then leave 1 point on the table. The good news, they still own that second wild card spot for now over the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, still a couple of games in hand on the Anaheim Ducks, who were able to do exactly what the Bruce Boudreau and company would have preferred they did not. That score early, that score on the power play. Their power play has been a point of contention this season, but the Minnesota Wild, they did bounce back. They had an opportunity to, essentially fold at that point and say, okay, let's just prepare for the road. Didn't do that. If anything, I thought they played very solid in the final 40 minutes. They came back. Unfortunate that they weren't able to leave victorious, but Devin Dubnyk played rock solid. A lot to build off.
This one would take 11 rounds of the shootout to come up with the deciding final outcome. The Anaheim Ducks get the 3-2 win. Minnesota out shooting the Ducks 38-31. They go 0 for 3 on the man advantage today, 2 for 3 on the power play. This one, potential playoff implications on the line, but as Bruce Boudreau says, the rest of the games here on out are all going to have importance behind them.
Every game is big. I mean, every single game, I think, from here on in is going to be like this. It's a grind for an awful lot of teams, and it's going to be a battle of attrition. I think whichever team can handle it the best is going to succeed.
So now the Wild will head out east for a 3-game road trip to take on the Islanders, Devils, and Rangers. New York and New Jersey right now sitting in the 2 wildcard spots in the Eastern Conference. So some good competition for the Minnesota Wild to bounce back from this homestand that could have gone a little bit better, but 6 out of 10 points, not too terrible. Hopefully they come home with more points in hand after the trip.
Yeah, no doubt. And when Bruce Boudreau talks about the battle of attrition, the fact is the Minnesota Wild have only played with their full lineup 8% of the time. That's not very much. Should they get healthy, well, that's a good thing for the Minnesota Wild, and certainly for Devin Dubnyk, who continued to play solid but had breakdowns in front of him. The addition of Jonas Brodin back into that lineup is going to make a big difference for those miscues in front of your netminder.
Well, Monday is another early game. It's a 12 o'clock puck drop for the Wild as they take on the New York Islanders. So we look forward to seeing you for another matinee of hockey. In the meantime, for Ben Clymer, I'm Audra Martin. Thanks for joining us on Wild Breakaway.